This morning I set out for a run before sunrise. The city was still asleep, the streets were empty. And I began to ask that question again. The question I ask myself quite a lot is, why do we run? Why do millions of us lace up every day and endure running? I guess when we first start running, we're most likely chasing health, progress, and change. Maybe it's fitness, maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's simply the curiosity of what's possible. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. Progress slows, the big breakthroughs fade. And I think at its very core, running asks us to face head on the very things most people try and avoid in their life. And that is discomfort. I think that's why running really matters. Comfort lies. It lulls us into thinking that everything is fine, we're okay here, no need to change. But comfort also makes us fragile. There's something profoundly powerful about choosing to suffer. When we push ourselves into discomfort, something happens. The noise of life fades. Worry, frustration, anxiety, they shrink. The sharpness of physical effort narrows our focus, brings clarity, and strips life down to its simplest form, one step, then another. That's why we search for it, not for the discomfort itself, but the peace inside the discomfort. The place where your body screams at you to stop, your mind begs for relief, and everything inside you says quit. And yet when you step into that moment rather than fleeing from it, something extraordinary happens. The obstacle becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." It's the doorway into transformation, is where the illusions are burned off and where you discover just how much more you're capable of. Psychologists tell you that the way we experience pain depends entirely on the story we attach to it. If you see suffering as pointless, it will feel unbearable. But if you see it as the price of growth, as the doorway to progress, it becomes meaningful. Viktor Frankl, who endured some of the most difficult of human experiences, said, "In some way, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning." And running gives that suffering meaning. Every mile, every hill, every finishing line is proof that you can endure much more than you thought was possible. And if you've ever pushed yourself, whether it's a brutal 5K, those last few steps of a marathon or an ultramarathon, if you pushed yourself to exhaustion, you know this place. The mind goes quiet, the ego goes, and you hit rock bottom. It's where the truth sits, waiting. And every time we visit it, we discover something new about ourselves. And running is a safe, controlled place to hit that rock bottom, to willingly walk into the pain cave, to let exhaustion strip away everything that is false. And on the other side, we emerge stronger, clearer, and more alive. We don't crave or seek pain. We crave what lies beyond it. Resilience, peace, transformation. And running gives us access to that. It allows us to get closer to that. Watch any marathon and you'll see, from the elites to the first-time marathons, when they cross that finishing line, they are in some way transformed. Every single runner who crosses that finishing line in some way is a different person, even if it's only for a brief moment. And you don't have to look far to see that seeking discomfort has always been known to be the path to progress. Some of the greatest philosophers and the greatest wisdom has always shown that the struggle has always been our teacher. Seneca, another Stoic, reminded us that fire tests gold just as adversity tests the strong. Nietzsche told us to embrace hardship because what does not kill us makes us stronger. Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, said that excellence is formed in habit, and it's proven only under pressure. Another Greek philosopher, Heraclitus, wrote that the struggle is the father of all things, that tension gives birth to progress. And Simone Weil, the modern day mystic, said that only by consenting to difficulty do we truly touch the depths of our soul. And even our modern cliches, no pain, no gain, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, carry fragments of this timeless wisdom. And running is how we live it, willingly stepping into discomfort, because we know that through discomfort comes growth, and through that struggle comes transcendence. The Stoic philosopher Seneca urged us to rehearse adversity, to sleep on the floor, eat the simplest foods, wear rough clothing, and then ask yourself, is that what I feared? And running is our rehearsal. It's hardship that we willingly choose. So when we run in the rain, when we grind up those miles, and when we push through those last few painful miles of a marathon, we are training for life itself, because life will test us. Illness, loss, failure, disappointment. And the only really way to be ready is to practice hardship before it comes. And every mile on tired legs is exactly that, practice. But running does more than train the body. It strips away the ego. At the start of a race, our ego is right beside us. The times we want, the image we project, the labels that we carry. But as that fatigue sets in, the exhaustion takes grip, that ego just slips away. And that's what running does. When you're gasping for breath, when your heart is pounding, there's no room for labels or illusions. And all that's left is the true reality of the raw you. But running isn't always suffering. Most days it's rhythm, it's joy, it's peace. The steady pounding of footsteps, the cycle of breath. It becomes a moving meditation. And in those moments, the world gets quieter and the endless noise of modern life just fades away, and you become fully present, connected to your body. And for the Stoics, the present was everything. Confine yourself to the present, Marcus Aurelius wrote. And running is one of the purest ways to do that. So what is it that draws runners to discomfort? I guess the answer lies somewhere in between trying to discover or find themselves and trying to lose part of themselves. It's hardship that we chase, crave, and choose. Ego stripped away. It's the obstacle becoming the way. Discovery, surrender, and transformation. It's a rehearsal for those testing moments in life that will come. And maybe it's training us not to be just better runners, but better human beings. Stronger, wiser, with more humility. So why do you run? Is it to discover yourself, or is it for you to lose yourself? I'd love to know down below in the comments.